And so this brief will touch on some of the operations and other related issues that we have carried out since our last meeting. The details are as follows. Clearance operations. Our troops have conducted some clearance operations during the period under review. On the 1st of February 2017, at about 0950 hours, own troops cleared Boko Haram camp at Dusala, where 6 Boko Haram terrorists were killed, and items recovered, as you could see on the screen, include 1 light machine gun, 2 RPG tubes, as well as 1 anti-aircraft gun with extra barrels. And thereafter, our troops also came in contact with the Boko Haram terrorists at Bok, where a firefight ensued. And sadly, in that firefight, we lost 3 soldiers and 5 others were wounded. Furthermore, we recovered Boko Haram terrorist equipment, which included 9 AK-47 rifles, 3 FN rifles, 2 RPG bombs, 1 mortar tube, 1 Shilka gun, 1 gun truck mounted with anti-aircraft gun, as well as 2 Hilux vehicles, as you could see right there on the screen. On the 7th of February, own troops successfully cleared Ngwaumari, Bulabure, Chongolo, Ghana, Siraja, and Zaye Nkusa villages. Troops in that operation encountered Boko Haram terrorist elements at Chongolo, Ghana village. And of course, they were cleared successfully, and 13 of the Boko Haram terrorists were killed. And some of the equipment that were recovered included arms, ammunition, vehicles, motorcycles, as well as bicycles. And of course, we rescued 5 women and 15 children who we suspect to be the family members of the Boko Haram terrorists. Their pictures are right there on the screen. On the 21st of February, own troops cleared Mandaka and Lemu villages, which was, of course, on our way to Gata village. The advancing troops encountered and killed 2 Boko Haram terrorists at Gata, while a member of the vigilante, of course, that also was with us, giving us some route guidance, was wounded in action during that operation. Items recovered from the insurgents include a list containing names of suspected Boko Haram terrorists, as well as an IED vest, 2 solar panels, a Boko Haram terrorist flag, 4 copies of the Quran, a national ID card with a name on it, as well as a voter's card. A total of 59 women and children suspected to be held captive by the insurgents were rescued during that operation. And of course, currently, they are being profiled. Own troops also, in conjunction with the vigilantes, commenced advance on the 19th of February 2017 at about 0700 hours and successfully cleared Butauri, Kura, Bulambulin, Ambi, Atasha, and Toro villages. Others include Gol, Zindia, Babur, Manguzum, Talala, Ajigi, and Doksa. Camps of the Boko Haram terrorists along the axis were also cleared. Now, ambush operations. Own troops conducted some ambush operations also within the period. On the 14th of February, at about 0445 hours, we laid ambush at a suspected Boko Haram terrorist crossing point between Kukareta and Gamdu, where 3 Boko Haram terrorists were killed as soon as we made contact with them. Items recovered included 1 AK-47 rifle, 3 magazines, 2 RPG bombs, 50 rounds of 7.62 millimeter ammunition, a ding gun, and some local charms, and of course 2 knives. Also on the 21st, we equally conducted ambush operation, and own troops sealed at a suspected Boko Haram terrorist crossing point at Frigi along road Polka Banki Junction. The troops made contact with Boko Haram and killed 3 of them And during the operation, one of our trucks, of course, was slightly damaged from the encounter that we had. The items recovered and destroyed in situ included those that were recovered, which was AK-47 rifle, magazine, and 7 rounds of 7.62 millimeter ammunition. Those that were destroyed in situ were bicycles and food condiments, which I believe they had gone to get to restock, but of course they met their Waterloo. There are other, ambush operations that were conducted, which, in my view, I do not think that time will permit us to begin to go through all those. But these are the ones we think we need to let you know. Now, also within the period, we ran into Boko Haram terrorist ambush, and on the 9th of February at about 19:30 hours, own convoy troops, which of course was widely reported, conveying some of our newly inducted recruits that were going to marry up with our troops in Dikwa. Of course, they were ambushed at Ajiri along Mafa-Dikwa Road. And in the process, we lost 8 of the soldiers, and 18 others were wounded. And we have 3 that are missing in action. Of course, that we have also reported, as well as some of the vehicles that were lost during that operation. Efforts are on currently to ensure that those who are missing in action are recovered. We're still on the search for them. Equally, there was an attack which was conducted by the Boko Haram terrorists on the 24th of February at about 23:59 hours. Some Boko Haram terrorist elements in gun trucks and on motorcycles attacked our location at Gajiram. Many of you who know the route between here and Mongunu, just more than half the distance between here and Mongunu, that's where you have Gajiram. And we have our troops that are located in that location, and they were attacked. Sadly, we lost an officer and 10 soldiers in that encounter. And of course, one of them, we also equally lost one gun truck, which we equally recaptured from the Boko Haram terrorists. Now, in addition to the men that were lost, we equally lost 11 AK-47 rifles and an RPG tube. 2 of the Boko Haram terrorists were killed in action, as well as 5 of their motorcycles and 1 AK-47 rifle were recovered. And of course, we also went on the pursuit, and in the process, we recovered 1 Toyota Land Cruiser belonging to the Boko Haram terrorists, which of course they abandoned in the course of our pursuits. Other items that we recovered included 9 rounds of 12.7 millimeter ammunition and metal link for 12.7 millimeter ammunition, as well as assorted hard drugs, a note with Boko Haram terrorist names, which also had Arabic instructions on them. We equally got a microchip and which contained audio messages in Kanuri, Hausa, and Arabic preaching. We are also profiling and trying to do some measure of exploitation with those materials that we collected from the scene. Now, what I would like to show is discovery of Indian hemp to also bring to fore that allied to the criminality of the Boko Haram terrorists, there are some other criminal gangs that we also find within the theater of operation. The linkages with the terrorists is still being established, but I thought I should bring this to your notice. That on the 2nd of February at about 08:10 hours, on troops that are in Song checkpoint. Song is in Adamawa State, the northern part of Adamawa. We still have troops in that place on a checkpoint. They stopped a Honda vehicle with registration number Badagry 266EE, of course, registered from Lagos State, with 2 persons. And on questioning, the driver identified himself and claimed to be a policeman. And of course, the troops insisted that they needed to see his, to search the vehicle. Just at that point, he took off and began to speed up. And of course, the soldiers at the checkpoint took action and went on pursuit. And in the process, the vehicle ran off the road and hit a wall, and the driver died. And just as the troops suspected, the boots were opened, and when they were searched, it was stashed with materials that are suspected to be Indian hemp. Perhaps that was what. And of course, we also realized that the ID card that he claimed that he had was a policeman was actually a fake ID card of a police inspector, which does not exist. So that accounts for his attempt to run away from the troops. Now, also within the period, we made some arrests, a good number of them, and many of them, of course, are the Boko Haram terrorist suspects, which are within the period. And on the 16th, at about 14:25 hours, own troops deployed at Mafa intercepted one Hassan Adamu, aged 27 years. And of course, he was suspected and rightly identified as a Boko Haram terrorist by those who he has been terrorizing in Mafa town. And the suspect eventually confessed to being a member of Boko Haram terrorists, but that he was tired of the Boko Haram terrorist ideology and wanted to surrender. But of course, he didn't surrender before then. So now that he has seen the other side of it, perhaps that's why he's giving us those stories. But he's currently in our custody, undergoing further interrogation. On the 21st, at about 16:30 hours, own troops intercepted a Boko Haram terrorist suspect by name Ari from Bola Umari village. He disguised, as an IDP to gain access into the IDP camp at Banki. And the suspect, of course, when he was searched, he tried to integrate with the IDP. And eventually we found the sum of 1,264,000 naira on him. And of course, also 160,000 sefa, which were found on him. I believe that he was on a mission, possibly to go and restock, to get some logistics for the Boko Haram terrorists. But currently he's undergoing interrogation, and the full details, of course, we'll get to know, and even those who sent him. On the 26th of February, at about 17:40 hours, own troops in collaboration with personnel of the Department of State Service with the tracking team arrested 3 Boko Haram terrorists at Arawa and Malai Inam area of Gombe metropolis. Of course, this also has been reported, but the suspects, 3 of them, Bilal Mohammed Umar, Bashir Mohammed, and Mohammed Megeri Abubakar, they confessed to have fled from Chad Republic and to belong to the Al-Banawi group of the Boko Haram terrorists. The suspects, of course, were arrested with some IED making materials as well as some other items. They are currently in our custody and undergoing further investigation. Now, within the period, we destroyed some motorcycles belonging to Boko Haram terrorists. As part of our efforts to dominate our various deployment areas, our troops, discovered on the 10th of February, discovered a congregation of motorcycles which the Boko Haram terrorists were gathering, hopefully, possibly to put to use at a later stage, somewhere around Bara. And of course, we got hold of them and we destroyed them in situ. Now, you're also aware that within the period, we had some, female suicide bombers that were also intercepted. On the 7th of February at about 07:10 hours, own troops in conjunction with civilian JTF intercepted 2 female suicide bombers behind NNPC mega filling station along Meduguri-Dambwa Road. The suicide bombers were sighted while advancing towards the line of the vehicles that were queuing up to buy fuel. And of course, because of the vigilance of own troops, as soon as they deployed, one of them started running, and of course they were pursued, and the troops, of course, fired at one, and one of them also removed her suicide vest and threw it away and surrendered to the troops, while the other one, was shot. And of course, the details you already know. We brought in the police EOD team that assisted in detonating in situ the straps of the vest, IED vest that was on them. Equally, on the 17th of February at about 02:50 hours, you know of the story, two female suicide bombers came to Muna Dalti, and of course when challenged by the civilian GTF, they quickly detonated their suicide vests, and of course that also killed the two of them, as well as 7 of the civilian GTF that were injured. The injured, of course, were evacuated to the general hospital, and the explosion, of course, arising from that incident caused a lot of conflagration, which destroyed 13 cars that were parked. And that, of course, was widely reported, but we thought that we needed to bring it up here again. On the 24th, equally, 24th of February, at about 19:40 hours, 2 suicide bombers also attempted to infiltrate a Banki IDP camp. On sighting own troops on sentry, one of them detonated the IED vest strapped on her, killing herself, and of course the second bomber that was just close by. And a member of the civilian GTF sustained minor injuries. This happened, of course, in Banki. Now, within the period too, there were other incidents of IED attacks. This one, of course, happened to own troops. On the 2nd of February, at about 17:15 hours, while on clearance operation to Talalajigi, our troops encountered 2 IED incidents, which were just close to the objective. Sadly, we lost 2 soldiers, and 4 others were wounded. The wounded soldiers, of course, were evacuated, and since they've been receiving treatment. Also, on the 6th of February, at about 08:25 hours, as part of our normal operations, our troops that are situated in Ngoshi, whilst going on patrol along Ngoshi, Bukohide, Poka Road, we were involved in IED incident. And sadly too, we lost a soldier, and 4 others were wounded. In Izan, he lost gun truck, as well as 3 rifles were damaged in that unfortunate incident. The wounded soldiers, of course, were evacuated to the hospital, and they are currently responding to treatment. On the 19th of February, at about 10:00 hours, our troops encountered IED around Bulajibam general area, while advancing, to clear Wayaram village. 2 soldiers were killed in action, while 13 others were also wounded. So you could see that most of the casualties that we got within this period were mostly from IED incidents, apart from, of course, the incident that happened in Gajiram. Now, within the period, we had a Boko Haram terrorist that surrendered, one Ibrahim Adamu. He had surrendered. Before the surrender, surrendering to the troops in Mongunu, he was located in Chikungudu. Now, let me also mention that within the period, just a few days back, we had to carry out a deliberate operation to Chikungudu. We felt that we needed to go to reoccupy Chikungudu, since around the Lake Chad area, there are a few issues that have been cropping up there, so that we had to undertake that operation. So the troops are still there, and we're believing that as we close up on the operation Rawankada, which is a joint operation between Operation Lafiya, Dole, and the troops of the Multinational Joint Task Force, which is all to sweep across the entire Lake Chad region, the troops' presence in Chikungudu will be very useful, so that to give a lot of support to the troops' exploit into the Lake Chad islands. So let me, on that note, stop so far, and then show a few clips from our air component operations, all the air operations that we conducted within the period, very short. And thereafter, I think I should have a little surprise for you today. But let's watch. Now, within the period, based on ISR reports and the surveys that we do on a daily basis, we took note of some movements around, and in the process, because of the activities around our general area, an airstrike was called, and it happened to be where we suspect to be ammunition dump for the Boko Haram terrorists. That's what was destroyed. And then also a few hideouts, which of course you could see some of the survivors that were seen, running away. You could see. You also remember that within the period, there was a little incident that happened where one of our helicopters was shot at, using small arms. And so, of course, those, I wouldn't want to say criminals. Of course, that's who they are. We didn't leave them to go. That operation that you saw, low-flying aircraft, actually went back to pick them up. I just thought, just to give you an update. Now, these operations are continuing across the theater. Told us in the time past that Sambisa will remain a place where we will remain for a long time to come from all fronts, both the ground forces and the air forces. Ensuring that the place is dominated so that it does not provide, safe haven for them to reoccupy. I also told us that later this month, we will be conducting an exercise in the entire Sambisa forest, all in a bid to ensure that the place is well dominated, ensuring that, it does not become an ungoverned space any longer for the Boko Haram terrorists to reoccupy. So all these air operations that were conducted in addition to ground troops operations are all geared towards dominating the entire area. Now, the summary of rescued, arrested, surrendered Boko Haram terrorist suspects and other persons within the period is 7,898. And of course, 2 of them were those who surrendered. And then we probably have a total of 8 foreigners that were arrested, which comprised 4 Chadians, 3 Nigerians, and then 1 Cameroonian within the period. The details are right there on the screen. And all right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am constrained to touch on the recently released Amnesty International report for the year 2016. The reason being that the reports made some unfortunate and unfounded claims regarding the operations in the Northeast. Whereas the contents of the report have been condemned, I wish to join to say that troops of Operation Lafiya Dole are professional both in conduct and in disposition. They operate within the strict guidance of the rules of engagement and the code of conduct for troops. What needs to be made clear is that we have observed a consistent attack on the institutions charged with a mandate to protect the nation against every form of insecurity. During the trying days of this operation, Amnesty International and other agents working against our nationhood tried tirelessly to incite the populace against the military through various malicious publications. In spite of their distractions, we forged ahead and decimated the Boko Haram terrorists. We worked assiduously to improve on our civil-military relations, the result of which, of course, is very manifest in the unparalleled support, accolades, and encouragement that we have been receiving from the populace. This position seems to have disappointed Amnesty International and their unholy allies. Regrettably, some Nigerians are being used as puppets and agents of destruction of our nation's security institutions. It is sad that when our national security institutions are gaining traction, These agents, after fabricating their reports, sit back and push Nigerians to make the reports known to the public to give a national color of some sort. What a case of go and destroy your own house. We must rise up and stand against this subtle and increasing level of neocolonialism. We all have a role to play in this direction. Our national institutions must be strengthened. It is our responsibility so to do. No one can love Nigeria better than Nigerians. I only ask you, the press, to shine your eyes. On that note, I urge the general public to continue to report any suspicious persons or objects to the military and other security agencies. Peace we need. Peace we have. Peace we must work to sustain. Whilst appreciating the support and encouragement of the Commander-in-Chief, the Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, and Chief of Naval Staff, and of course other well-meaning Nigerians, including you, members of the press, we remain absolutely loyal and committed to the cause for which we are assigned to Operation Lafiya Dole. Let me thank you, and now, would you mind, can I have, where are you? I said I have a surprise for you. Where's Nawal? Now, what I intend to do is to show you, each time we report to you that there are some suicide bombers that we have arrested. Sometimes it looks as if they are fairy tales. I intend this afternoon to present them to you, so that in the course of our interaction, you also speak with them. But of course, what I'll do now, they will come out and you see them, and later on, if you want to take questions from them, please bring them. Please come. Please come. Look at this beautiful young, no, stand up. Beautiful, innocent girls that some heartless and mindless people want to destroy their lives. People who have future. As young as they are, what do they know about life? But here you are. If not that God is on their side and on our side, they would have been dead just like their colleagues. We have taken steps to begin to profile them, to ask to get to know those behind the very sad episodes of suicide bomb attacks. So I just thought you should have a glimpse of them, and in due course, if you want to ask them questions, that I'll present them to you. But for now, take them away. Take them away. All right. And on that note, let me once again thank you, and then the floor is open for you to ask your questions. Fire on, please. Yes. Yes, Godwin.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Once again, my name is Bodrin Kayode, Nigerian Tribune. I want to key in on your usual appeal to us that we should try and win the peace. You touched on something that I'm quite emotional about, and that's the drug aspect. It looks as if to win the peace, we have to kill the drug and kill all the guys that are manipulating drugs. Do you have any relationship with the NDLEA? How do you work? Because with what is going on now, I expect to see one of the operatives sitting in your team here, because this war has to be frontal, face to face, for us to deal with them squarely.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. My name is Haruna Dole, sir. I report for VOA. Sir, let me first of all congratulate you for a good job, sir. Actually, every Nigerian, I believe, is proud of you. And we equally, as journalists, we are proud of what you have been doing to us, at least for now, sir. Sir, my observation in respect of some successes you made. There are some places like the 1st November 2017, February 2017, sorry, you made mention of killing about 6 suspected members of Boko Haram at Dusla. what I'm trying to say here is that there is need for you to be mentioning the local government for us to understand where specifically this thing happened. So for us to report perfectly. And secondly, sir, I want to know the numbers of the motorcycles that have been destroyed. I saw a numbers of motorcycles.
Correct.
We need to know the numbers. Thank you, sir. Okay. And so also, sir, I'm sorry, the numbers of the people that were rescued, we want to know in specific times. Female, the numbers of female is so number, male, and as well as whether they are following us or they are all Nigerians. Thank you. Okay, thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Sadiq Abubakar. I write for Blueprint newspaper. Sir, the efforts of the Nigerian military troop under the Operation Lafiya Dole is well commendable, and we are involved and we are seeing what is happening. However, sir, based on following our past questions and your past assurances on the issue of surveillance, military surveillance on routes that are opened by the military, particularly Maiduguri-Dambuwa route, just like the Maiduguri-Gamborongala route. Recently, despite the call by journalists for you to ensure that those areas are being cleared, still now residents of that area have been coming to complain to us that despite the effort of the military, these criminals do come and launch ambush and attack with them, leading to loss of lives and properties, and even some drivers or passengers are presently in hospital, not in their own. So now, may we know why up to now, sir, despite your promises, these boys are still within the area of Maiduguri as to Dambuwa attacking? Thank you very much, sir.
So my name is Maimuna Garba from NTA. Sir, is the deliberate operation at Chikungudu also part of Operation Guankada? I want to know that. Then secondly, sir, there are information making round that the military has carried out some arrests. How true is it, and who are those arrested?
Yeah, so I'm Babagana Mohammed for Peace FM and Northeast FRCN. So I want us to cast back our mind to the last press briefing, where you said one of the imams from Anadawa village in Mafa was arrested by the police for 9 months and was released. Then the army re-arrested the person. So that does mean there are no synchronization between the military agencies, that one of the police officers found him not wanting, or on what ground they released the person, and then the army now re-arrested. The second is the follow-up to one of my colleagues from the Blueprint about the axis, the entry and the exit point in Maiduguri. Last 2-3 weeks, there was an attempt to infiltrate through Gamborongala axis in the night around 11 p.m. On that same day, there are so many trucks waiting to be conveyed goods to the nearby villages, but they were destroyed. And also I found out that they were not allowed on that day by the military not to go. I don't know what happened.
Give him now.
My name is Blessing Tunu. I report for Channels Television. So I want to still take you back to the Amnesty International issue. They made particular mention of the detention center here in Maiduguri, where about 240 persons allegedly died. So I would like to know what exactly is the situation in the detention center. You know, since from the reports we learned there are also infants there. what exactly is the situation there? That's one. And then secondly, in some of the clearance operations, the pictures we saw on the screen, we saw a lot of burning. So I don't know, is there a way you can do those clearance operations without burning down some of those towns, since now the government is talking about rebuilding and stuff like that? Is there a way you can do it without, collateral damage? And then thirdly, I want to talk about the rotation of your fighters. For the Nigerian Air Force, I have witnessed their rotation, which they do like every 6 months. But I would like to know, how long do you keep your fighters in the battlefield? How long does it take you to rotate them to ensure that their morale is high? And then lastly, I want to talk about RAN. The last time we met, we talked about all the things that happened there and the ambush, and then how the military there was able to repel them. I would like to know, has there been any deliberate operation to take out the insurgents? Since from the ambush we know that they were actually there before the mistake happened. After all of those things, has there been any deliberate operation launched on them? Thank you.
Timothy Olanroj is my name. I write for the Sun newspaper. The last briefing, you promised that you're going to update us on the progress regarding the investigation to the Iran issue. What has happened since your last briefing? And then again, it appears the insurgents have been on step up the activities in the last couple of weeks. What would you say is probably responsible for this bit of attacks and ambush and some of their violent activities? And then still back to Amnesty International, you beyond assumed neo-colonialism of the Amnesty International, what do you think is responsible for them to continually attack the Nigerian military and of course the Nigerian institution? Thank you.
Okay, I don't know. You want? Okay, fine. Perhaps give him so that let's see within the time available for us to answer this.
Good afternoon, theater commanders, ladies and gentlemen. I'd want to go back to the ladies you just
introduce yourself first.
Okay, sorry, my name is Patrick Ifeanyi Mark. I report for Africa Independent Television, AIT. I want to revisit the three young ladies that were shown out here. You would notice they are wearing hijab. I am wondering whether or not you are considering a temporary ban. Of course, I know this is a little sensitive, but whether or not you are considering a temporary ban on this dressing, which they often use to conceal the body-borne explosives. That's number one. Number two has to do with some time back, the reports were, awash with the alleged arrests of the leader of the civilian JTF in Borno State. Now, what is the true position from your point of view? Thank you very much.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, quite comprehensive questions that you've asked, and I do hope that within the time available, I will be able to answer all of them. Bordering. Regarding the issue of drugs, actually, your passion is understandable, but we do not intend to kill those that are involved with drugs. That's not the intention. What we do, like even for Boko Haram terrorists, we desire that all of them turn a new leaf and become responsible citizens. So even those who are also dealing with drugs, we desire that they should also turn a new leaf and they become responsible citizens. I believe that such people, when given good opportunity in life and they also understand what the issues are, they could even do very well to uplift a greater part of the society from some states that might not be too palatable currently. They may have brilliant ideas. So I think what is important is having them apprehended, having them reformed, and then they turn a new leaf and become responsible citizens. Now to your question, which is of interest to me, is that to do with our synergy with NDLEA. That they are not here does not mean that we do not work with them. All agents of government, especially here within the theater, we collaborate with them. They're actually in sympathy with us. The issue of the drugs, in fact, the hemp that we talked about, they were actually handed over to them. The suspect that we got was actually handed over to the Adamawa State, commander of the NDLEA. That is the Drug Law and Enforcement Agency in that state. So that's what we do right here on a daily basis. Even we have carried out, storms, searches, various quarters here in Maiduguri. There are certain things that we do behind the scenes that we don't come to tell you at all times. But then what I can tell you is to be rest assured that all the security agencies work hand in hand. And you will also recall that just a few days back, it was reported, the DIG operations came visiting. I didn't talk about that. I mean, it's a normal thing, as well as the Commissioner of Police, who also work with all my commanders at various levels. So we are together in this enterprise. Haruna, the decentralized, yes, I take note. We will subsequently give you the local government areas. But I was just believing that being those who have been here and very familiar with the environment, I just took it for granted that you're in picture. But that again is well noted. A greater part of it is actually in Damboa local government and all in the region of towards the Azis with some part of Kaga local government, some part of Konluga, and of course to parts of Yobe states. The operation in its entirety was actually centered towards that general direction. The number of motorcycles, I do not have the figures here, but I have it. I didn't think that was useful, but I have the number. Would you mind? Can I have it? 301 actually, 301. So I left it out. I didn't think, but thank you for asking. So that will be. Then Sadiq, the surveillance of the road. It does exist. I don't know when last you traveled along the road between Maiduguri and Damboa. You will have seen the extensive work that is ongoing, clearance, which of course even after the appeal we made to the public and to corporate citizens for them to give us some equipment, that has not come. But of course we've been able to make do with the little resources that we have to ensure that we clear the road, even though that's not our responsibility, but we think that to enhance the safety of commuters, we need to do that. That's what we are doing. For those of you who may have traveled in the last 2 weeks, you have seen a lot of extensive work that's on that road. And for those of you too who may have also traveled along the road to Bama, you have seen that the road, you can even travel without any escort, with anybody following you. You will see right ahead of you, 500 meters, 800 meters, 1 kilometer ahead of you on both sides of the road, up to 50, in some cases 100 meters on both sides of the road. That is all from our efforts, all because we want to enhance the safety of lives and everyone that use that road. I don't know whether I've answered you. Now, for the Chikungudu operation, Memuna, the Chikungudu operation is not part of Operation Rankada. Okay, but again, individual operations, they have an end state. The whole essence of all the operations, individual operations we are conducting, either singly or jointly with the Multinational Joint Task Force, have an overall framework, overall end state, which is to get the Boko Haram terrorists, to get rid of the Boko Haram terrorists wherever we find them. But of course, because we also envisage that when the heat will be around the Lake Chad basin, holding Chikungudu will be very critical. So that's the reason why we felt we needed to go there, and that's why we're there, to ensure that whoever tries to escape from the Lake Chad general area is intercepted. So it's not part of the Operation Rankada. Then you equally talked about the arrests. I mentioned a good number of arrests. I treated that, all the arrests that we conducted, that we have to undertake within the period. That, of course, was contained in the brief that I gave. Now, Babagana, talking about synergy, because there was a rearrest. Look, everyone that we have released, we have profiled and we release. It's not impossible that if new information or new intelligence come, that it cannot be rearrested. So that they were rearrested does not mean that we're not in sympathy with or in sync with the police operation. That's not true at all. It's because of the information that is available that has led us to having him rearrested. Now, on the Muna attack, you know, it was essentially a person-born IED attack, all aimed at causing, you know, some form of disaffection or wanting to create some false impression as to what the situation is. A lot of devastation was carried out, of course, 13 vehicles destroyed, and then aside the goods that are loaded in those vehicles. That, of course, is substantial, and that is unfortunate. But again, we have also indicated that what will now be seen, what we are seeing, they are actually not connected. I think that brings me to what Timothy, the question he asked. What we are witnessing is not strange. It's not strange in the sense that they are not unexpected. Why? Because if having them routed out of Sambisa, they are going to find, you know, other safe havens, and so along the path, you know, whatever comes their way, they are likely to attack. And I've also said that, look, they are not likely to, you know, give up easily. Even though we, of course, we are putting up a lot of pressure to ensure that other lines of operation, you know, is enhanced for them to either give up or whatever it is. But since they have chosen the path to keep struggling, why not? That's the reason why you may find such attacks, you know, going on. Now, Blessing, Amnesty International reports. Now, you know, the one that, let me even zero in on the one that concerns me. And part of the reports that they indicated was that there was a research, an interview which they conducted. Who is the person that they conducted a report with? Who did they interview? Now, the person that they interviewed, will it not surprise you if such a person possibly also toes the views and the line of the Boko Haram terrorists? Why can't such a person, can't they make that person available to you as an independent interviewer to interview such a person? So these are the issues. If you believe that because you made a report 2 years back, 3 years ago, and that report has not been worked upon, and so you now want to use it because we have gained traction, because we're making a headway, you now think that this is the only way to distract us for us to, that's the point I'm making. And I think that that's precisely what they are doing. You look at it, all of them, when they're making that presentation, they brought the Nigerians forward. The Nigerians were not involved in that research. They told you they are researchers. That's not true. Those who made the research are behind, sitting. They are the ones. But they just want to make it look as if this is a national thing. And let me say this. It's unfortunate that, yes, of course, there are some unpleasant conditions that we find around our society. That is nobody's, you can't attribute it to one person. It's a collective responsibility that we need to undertake to ensure that we reverse whatever you think that they look very unpalatable in our society. But to not give impression that the institutions of governance, and in this case, the national security institutions, are to be attacked so that the nation is further weakened, then of course there's a problem there. We are guided by codes of conduct. You're talking about yes, they reported that 240 or thereabout of those in detention died. Now, ask yourself, around your environment, this is just a general statement I'm making. Around your environment, do you have people that die? Every day around us, but that does not mean that that's the number of persons that died from detention facilities. I have not also come here in time past to tell you that I do not have some who are males, females, and even underage that are in our detention facilities. I think I've also told you in time past that there are some Boko Haram terrorists, they are females, but of course they also have children. And some have also, denied or prevented us from taking them to a center which, of course, the Borno State government, for example, has created for them to take care of those minors. And they want to be the ones to be taking care of them. And ICRC will give them access to our detention facilities for them to see what goes on there and to advise us what we need to do, and they have written their reports. Why is it that you have not gone to interrogate the ICRC reports regarding the detention facilities? And it is what backdoor researchers, what they do, that's what you are more interested in. ICRC is well recognized. We have interfacing with them, and they know all that goes on. And they have not, in fact, they have, even in their last report, they have even commended us a great deal because of the progressive advances that we have made with respect to our treatment of, those that are in detention facilities. So what I'm telling you is to have a greater trust on those of us that have been, the institutions, national institutions that have been given the mandate to address certain national security issues. There is need for greater trust. If you don't trust it and you have it destroyed, again, it's your personal safety and security that is being attacked. You must see it from that context. Do not allow people to want to, for whatever reasons that more or less are personal and pecuniary in nature, which does not serve the collective good of all of us, for them to begin to destroy us, even when they should be commending, and to see that progress is being made. They rather want to see that it's only negative things that will be reporting at all times. That's the point I try to bring out here. And I think that every one of us need to rise up for us to know that our collective security is lies in our hands. Your contribution to it is very critical, and it's essential for us to begin to walk along that general path. And I thought I needed to make that clear. Now, on the issue of burning, we don't burn communities. You know that this period we are in, it's a dry season. Of course, we fire bullets. The bullets, of course, when heated, of course, can cause fire. So it is as a result of all that. Not that we deliberately, everywhere, even, you know it. I mean, those of us that are here, we know it. So that's not, I think that's a non-issue. On the restriction of fighters, well, you cannot compare what the Air Force, what they do, to what the Army, what they do in this theater. Those that they rotate, those who are providing medical care in IDP camps, and all that. You can't compare that to and then of course also look at the number. We have, I don't want to give out the figure of the ground forces that we have. That of course, there's no base for comparison. Of course, there is also a planned rotation, which it cannot be as regular as what the Air Force has. It's not for the Army, for them to handle, it's not possible. Deliberate operations. We've conducted very many deliberate operations around RAND. The troops on a daily basis, they go out for raids, they go out for patrols to ensure that, okay. I'm told the time is up, and I think principally, Timothy, your question also centers around that. And on that note, let me once again thank every one of you. You've been very valuable partners in this enterprise. I think we're working, our progress on the road to peace is actually progressive. And I believe that when we continue in that light, very soon, you wouldn't see my face again, perhaps around here. You will be seeing, our regular forces, in this operation. Meaning that Operation Lafiya Dole, in due course, will wind up. Then you now have police, you have our forces that will be on ground in terms of the normal peacetime, locations. That's my prayer, and I believe that is your prayer, so that everyone will be doing his own work, living his life as he should. On that note, let me once again thank you, and God bless.
Distinguished officers, gentlemen, may I please request a round of applause for the theater commander? Okay,
that was the briefing by the theater commander, Operation Lafiya Dole, Major General Lucky Rabo, where he gave a reassurance that our gallant troops are in the march to ensure that peace prevails in tandem with the code name of the counter-insurgency operation, Lafiya Dole. On behalf of the transmission crew, it's now back to the studio for continuation of our regular programs.